from the Blaze Global Information Headquarters in New York, where this office is going to be extraordinarily busy in the next 10 days. This country, I believe, is going to be rocked in the next 24 hours with some things that are going on in Washington and beyond that we found out about yesterday. And we will be telling you in great detail in the next 24 hours. And it will show you how dire the situation is. And we are going to be greatly divided, I believe, as a nation. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, you know all the details. We are going to be greatly divided in the next 10 days, and you are going to witness things in American history that have never been witnessed before. Agree?
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's over a subject that we have not even paid much attention to over the last few years. I mean, it was a big issue and hasn't been.
We'll give you all the details as we are prepared to release them. I just wanted to warn you and keep you aware that you are going to need to pay attention. As soon as this news breaks, you're going to need to pay attention, and you're going to need to pay attention. You're going to need to be ready to go, fired up, ready to go, because this is going to happen really fast, and there are heroes. You know, we talked about the NSA whistleblower, and I think, am I really like one of the only ones? Am I really alone on the right?
You're not alone. There are some.
It's divided, though. I would say it is divided.
Definitely. Yeah. And as we talked to the congressman yesterday, and I talked to several of them about the whistleblower, a lot of them believed that it's a good thing it's out. They don't like the way he did it. They wanted him to come to some committee. They wanted him to go to Congress. They wanted him to go to,
whatever.
And like I said to one of these congressmen, I said, he's probably doing this in part for his safety, because
I will tell
if it
you
was me, I'd want it out there so I've got some protection.
I will tell you that. Do you remember the conversation I was having with a senator yesterday? And you walked in and you said, "What's going on?" And I said, "I love this senator." And he started to tell you. He said, "I'm sure you know." And I said, "No, he doesn't." We have a whistleblower on something that is. This guy is so afraid for his life that he hadn't talked to me. He has reached out to an ally and to get some information. And my people have seen one document. This one document would take down pretty much the whole power structure. Pretty much everything. This guy is so afraid he won't do it unless he is in front of Congress and televised. And he's like, I am dead. I am absolutely dead. I'm not talking they're going to smear me, they're going to arrest me. I'm dead. Yeah. And I'm dead from both sides. And I was talking to a senator yesterday, and he said, "What's it about?" And I said, "Senator, I'm not going to tell you what it's about. I will just tell you it will take down the GOP. It will take down the Democrats. It will take down many members of Congress. It will take all of them down. And outside of Congress, it will take them down. The American people, you haven't even begun to be outraged. And how many people are involved in this?" And he said, like the leadership, like everything? And I said, "Yes." And he smiled. And he said, "What are you waiting for? Call him up. Tell him, let's do it."
That's where I came in on the conversation.
Yeah, and he's a mild-mannered
big time
senator. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I said, "Well, I don't know if it's just first of all, I don't have his phone number, and I don't think I just call him up and do that. And he needs real assurances." And he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll give him the assurances. We'll give him this is really corrupt. We'll do it." I don't know if this guy, because I personally don't even know how to contact him, but I don't even know if this guy would do it. He is truly deathly afraid for his life. And he's not a 29-year-old kid. This guy's been around for a very long time. We're in different times. We are in different times. Did you hear what Cruz said to me on stage yesterday? Were you listening? Did you hear him talk?
Yeah.
I got off the stage and I asked Joe Kerry, and I said, I don't know if I was really comfortable with him saying that. We were talking about his father and how his father was tortured and held in prison and everything else in Cuba for political dissent. And he looked at me dead serious. And he said, you know, Glenn, I mean, I hate to bring this up, but I can see a time when that's you, that you're in prison. I'm like, Ted, I'm not really comfortable with this conversation right now, but thank you. But he was serious. He was serious that we are on a track that resembles Cuba in the 1950s. That if you are a political dissident from this regime, that we are on a track. We're not there now, but we're on a track that will put people in prison for speaking out. I mean, I've never been to Washington. We met last night with 50?
Yeah, 30 to 50,
yeah.
I'd say.
Congressmen and senators. I have good news to report. I have not seen the resolve that I saw last night. Would you agree with that, Pat?
Mm-hmm.
The resolve, I mean, these guys are now talking specifically only about the Constitution. They are not talking about anything else but we're not going to make it. We have to save the Constitution. It's remarkable, the difference in them from the last time I was there. And you were with me on that time.
Yeah.
Completely different. First of all, there were probably 10 or 12 of them. About half of them I believed. The other half I believed, but I didn't think they really understood what they were up against.
Vast majority this time.
Oh, yeah.
Knew what was going on.
There were a couple of people in there that...
not so much.
I was surprised at how paranoid everybody was last night. They would talk and, you know, because they're all working on different things, and they all just got out of the briefing, and none of them would tell me about the briefing in any detail, which I was kind of bummed about. But they all got in briefing on the NSA thing, and they were all really smoked about that. Really, really smoked. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody tell you anything on that?
No.
Okay.
No.
But they were really quite upset about it. And they were all very paranoid as they were talking. Several times they would say something and they would look behind them and look around to see. And this is in a room that was supposedly safe with only, you know, the like-minded people coming, which I found out later. I thought it was. I found out later was not the case. And they all were looking around, and at one point, this is when I found out they wasn't safe, they walked over and said, no. What was that? We'll talk later. And then it kind of made a gesture of eye movement, and I realized that they were saying, because they later came in, they were so paranoid, later came out and they were like, that's a spy.
Don't talk about that around this person.
Yeah, watch who you're talking to and what's going on, and it's really clandestine cloak and dagger stuff. I've never seen that before in Washington. I've never seen it before. You're not getting the truth at all on Washington, and you know this, but you're not even really. I don't even think you're getting it from us, because I've not heard anybody say the things that I have said. Stu, have you heard anybody describe the situation in Washington like I've described it here in the last 10 minutes?
No.
Am I at all exaggerating on any of this, Pat?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. It's a different place than I've ever seen before.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear this from the outside, because I was not at the meeting yesterday, but I was at the previous one. When you said there was like 10 to 15 congressmen.
Right.
There.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Did I describe that right?
Yeah, I think so. They were, receptive and interested, but it wasn't this overwhelming.
There was no sense of urgency.
Yes,
yeah, they were still playing. They were still playing the game. They were kind of, well, they don't know what they're messing with. And I remember saying to them, you guys don't know what you're messing with. You better get out right now. I remember saying to them, you guys are going to lose your soul if you have this kind of attitude. I wasn't quite that, brisk with them, but basically that's what I was saying. If you think you're up against just the average run of the mill, you have no idea what you're dealing with. And only a few of them really understood that. But the rest of them were like, Yes, but they're old and tired, and I'm brand new, and I've got 7 Tea Party people behind me. I'm like, oh, well, then you're set. You go, Senator.
Yeah, I think in the subsequent...
This time they're afraid now.
It's been, what, a year and a half, 2 years since that meeting before?
Yeah.
In the subsequent time that has passed, most of them, almost all of them, now understand what they're up against because they've been beaten down with it. And they see how far we've come in a matter of a year and a half or 2 years. And I think, like us, they don't recognize the America we're currently living in.
Oh, no. They, in fact, I think for the very first time, some of them were trying to tell me, Glenn, you don't understand.
Yeah.
And they were the ones that were in and around anything intelligence related. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't give me any details, obviously, but they were the ones coming to me. I had senators and members of the House tell me last night, we do not survive this. We do not survive. It is time to look at the valuables, meaning the Constitution. How do we save the Constitution, and how do we preserve that and embed that into America and into the hearts of Americans? They were looking for lifeboats last night, and mainly because the GOP has sold its soul. Don't you dare trust John Boehner. I mean, nobody in this
They
audience,
certainly don't.
They don't.
Oh
my
they don't
gosh! And can I tell you something? Last night, David Barton took me on a tour of the Capitol for about half an hour. And we went into some rooms where, most people just don't even know the history. We were in the room where John Quincy Adams died. He had I think it was a massive stroke. He was on the floor doing what John Quincy Adams did always, and he was railing against slavery. And he had a stroke on the floor of the House. And they brought him back into this room and laid him on the couch. And he said, no, don't take me anywhere. He said, I'd rather die here. I've spent most of my life here. 3 days later, he died on that couch. And so David and I, we were walking around, and he was showing some great history of that place. And we walked by the speaker's chambers. And I think the first thing I said, I don't know if I think I said it to you, Pat. I said...
That chamber has to be a block long.
Yeah. I said, look at the power.
Yeah.
Look at the ego trip and the power. And it's not John Boehner. That's anybody who's Speaker of the House. The ego trip of that, it is absolutely, positively intoxicating. And then we went out on the Speaker's balcony, and he was gone, so I tried to go through some of his desk. But we went through, and we got onto the Speaker's balcony. Now, on the other side is Harry Reid's balcony. And so they have this patio furniture out there and stuff. And I stood in between those two, and I said, how does a human being survive here? How does a human being survive? And we should put these pictures up, because I know some people took some pictures of us on the balcony. But I said, I wanted everybody to look here. If you look at Pennsylvania Avenue, and the other one's Constitution, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You look at these two streets, they come, and they are like in a V, and they come right directly to that balcony. They point to that balcony.
It's like all roads lead to you.
All roads, yeah. Not to Washington, not to the power, not to the people. No, all roads lead to you. And there's no way, be honest with you, if you are this kind of a guy who's like, into power and stuff, it would be sexually arousing to be there. It really would be. You would feel such power. It's beyond intoxicating. And there's just no way. The whole city was set up. I really believe the whole city was set up for them to fail, because it doesn't scream the people. It screams power. And I don't know how you get past that. I was going by the Department of Labor, and I'll have to tell you a little bit about my speculation on the architecture. When were you with me when I said that? And I'll bet you that's true.
Coming up, architectural speculation on the Glenn Beck program.
You don't want to miss that.
No, it's actually
it is interesting.
It is a really interesting thing, the way they've designed that city and the way they built that city. Also, I have to tell you what's on the